to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And welcome to the Home Repairs and Solutions Show with hosts Mary Pearson and Mark Withers. Home Repairs and Solutions is brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your authorized Amana dealer. Now here's your host, Mary and Mark.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm great.
Isn't it a beautiful day?
It is a beautiful morning in the Ozarks.
It is. It's going to be a very nice weekend also.
Yes, it is.
So I don't know how many more of these we have left, but wow, do we need to take advantage of them.
Boy, I tell you what, you look at the forecast for later on the week. I mean, they're calling for like one morning it being 24 or something like that.
I am so not ready.
Oh no. But I think Saturday, last I looked or heard anyhow, they was saying like 65.
65 and sunny.
Yes.
And, and all the leaves are falling down. And
I tell you.
If you want to rake, tomorrow would be a good day to rake leaves.
I don't want to rake.
I don't either.
What's funny is we really don't have any trees. Well, we do in the backyard. We have one big tree, but our front yard just absolutely gets covered. But it's all from both neighbors on both sides.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
have any trees in my front yard.
Me too. Yeah, it's nice to share with your neighbors, but I really prefer they didn't share their leaves with me, but that's how it is.
Now I will have to say my my one neighbor, he comes out, he'll see me out there, and boy, he'll come out and he'll bring his leaf blower and blow them all back over on his side and get rid of them. He's like,
for a day or two.
Yeah, he said, "These aren't yours," so he's, so that is nice. But yes, leaves are falling, and not too many really pretty days left, and.
No, not so much.
So I'd prefer to get the motorcycle out Saturday and ride a little bit.
There you go. I would too, but I'm going to go to Silver Dollar City, I think, with my friends instead.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of planted. We planned it a few weeks ahead, and you never know what the weather's going to be. Although we're not going until later because it's we want to go to see the lights, so it needs to be dark.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Our hours of warmth is pretty small now.
Yeah, it is. I got home yesterday about 4:30 and thought, boy, I'm going to take a quick motorcycle ride.
I'll bet it was quick.
It was, because by 5:30 it's practically dark.
By 4:30 it's starting to get cool.
Yes, and boy, I'd hit these shady areas and it was really cool. And by the time I got back home, it was cold.
It was chilly.
Yep.
Yeah.
For
well,
sure.
you need to get you some Under Armour. I went and got me and my dad some, and it really helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yep, sure did.
And I don't wear a full face helmet.
I don't either.
I hate a full face helmet. So it's my face really gets cold, and I don't have a windshield on this bike like I did on my other one. And the rest of it
you're
was
getting
not too
all
bad,
you're getting all the bugs and everything.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Good old bugs in the teeth and yeah. Not too many bugs out this time of year. You don't
No,
have to
that's
worry
true.
about too many of them.
That's true. That's true.
So, earlier we was talking about trees and fallen leaves and all that kind of stuff. I think that just falls right in line with our guest that we have on here today.
It does, and that's why we invited him to be back on the
Yes.
show. He's been on our show before, has lots of great information, tips for everyone out there, what to do with your trees and your leaves and all kinds of stuff. And we have Jeff Hansen with us from Hansen Tree Service. And thanks for being with us today,
Well,
Jeff.
thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. It's great to have you on. This is a good time of year to have you on, talk about what people need to be doing with their trees and all that type of thing. Sometimes we don't always think about trimming the trees and that type of thing in the fall. But, I had to, my neighbor, it's probably been a couple months ago now, but I noticed I had some tree limbs that were hanging out over my covered deck and getting close to rubbing on the shingles. And so now I've learned to do lots of things this last year, but I do not get on the roof.
No.
So my neighbor does. And so he got up there and took all those limbs off for me because I didn't want him to tear up my shingles. But
it's not the fall off that ladder that'll kill you, Mark. It's that sudden stop.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, the fall doesn't hurt you. It's when you stop.
You ain't lying. And I tell people that all the time. I tell them that, and the thing you don't think about is those limbs that are laying on the roof.
Yeah, they'll roll.
Well, when it gets cold, and those shingles get cold and it blows, those shingles get brittle. And people say, well, how did I get water in my house? Well, that limb sits up there and rocks all night long, brushing across your shingles. The shingles pop off.
Yeah.
You get snow on the roof. It seeps through, and next thing you know, you got water in the house.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I try to encourage people to do is keep the tree limbs off of the house, away from the gutters, off of the roof. And, it's much cheaper to be proactive than it is to be reactive.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. That is correct.
And so now's a good time to give us a buzz and get somebody out there to take a look at it and get this stuff done before the ice sets in. And, I have people tell me, well, I never thought about those tree limbs brushing my roof when it gets, you get a 15-degree night. You get the wind blowing.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you got shingles snapping off and away you go.
Yeah.
So it just starts one thing, and then
Yeah.
you got drywall to fix and insulation to fix.
gosh.
Well,
yeah.
and one thing about a roof leak too is it might be leaking for a long time before you actually know it's leaking and comes through inside. And by the time it does all that, then you have quite a bit of damage.
Sure.
So, if it would start leaking and you knew it immediately, then you could fix it right away.
Right.
But that's usually not how that works.
Very true.
So don't take a chance on doing
That's
that.
right.
Get those limbs off your roofs.
That's right. And you mentioned need to call. Well, we need to give the number so you can call the show here.
That's true. That's true.
So-
We should start there.
I think we should. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. Or if you want to send us a text message, you can do that at 417-838-3192.
That's right. So if you have any questions about your trees, what you should be doing, shouldn't be doing, leaves, shingles, anything you want to talk about, be sure and give us a call today.
That's right. Definitely want to hear from you.
Yeah, and everybody always says, well, I didn't want to call because that was a stupid question. Well, in my opinion, the only question that you don't ask is the stupid one.
Yeah, exactly.
We say that all the time. There are no stupid questions. You
No.
can't be an expert with everything.
And I'm not an expert. Everybody says, oh, you've been at it 25 years and you're a certified arborist. And you know what? The technology today, here, let me tell you both one. What have you heard all your life as to what brings fall colors to leaves?
Well, I always heard, we got a lot of rain and stuff. It's going to make the trees
Right.
all nice and pretty.
Right.
I'm with you. The moisture.
Yeah.
The moisture. Mhm.
Okay? If you get a lot of moisture in the fall, you'll have great color.
If it's
Just-
dry, you don't.
Just read a report, has absolutely nothing to do with it. Scientific fact that it's all of temperature drop, how fast the petiole, the little stem, seals off, and how much moisture it has in the leaf when it seals off.
Really?
Wow.
Just in the last 2 weeks. Proven scientific fact, has nothing to, it's how fast you get that cold snap in the fall as to how much leaf color you're going to get.
Wow.
Really? Well, it seemed to me like, and I don't know if it's just me this year, whatever, but it seems
It's
like
beautiful.
Yeah.
it is.
Incredible.
It is gorgeous, and seems to me like it's the prettiest we've had in a little bit.
I agree.
So yeah, the trees
And-
have just been beautiful this
And
year.
if you notice, hey, we had a cold snap a little earlier, and it's
Yep.
just yeah. So hey, it makes sense. Yeah.
Like I said, I just read that in one of our arboriculture magazines that they just proved that it's whether you get that low temperature a couple days just to make everything seal up and know that Mother Nature's coming. And Mary, you talked about trimming trees. There's a lot of guys that have their own opinion about trimming trees, and I don't know that I have an opinion, but the thing about it is Mother Nature. You have all those leaves on there for a reason.
Sure.
Because they're creating sugars and photosynthesis to feed the tree all year long. So if you cut that stuff off in the fall, or in the spring or in the summer, that tree's not going to produce as much. So it's got to be stressful on them. Sometimes it has to be done. A particular situation where we get phone calls that my pool's so shaded that my kids are freezing to death. Can you trim this back? Well, we know that it's not good to do it, but they want it done. So you
Sure.
go do it. But the thing about trimming trees is if you trim them in the fall, they're dropping leaves. They're not creating sugars and the energies. You have no insect infestation. You have no airborne pathogens can survive the cold. So it's healthier for the trees to do it in late fall and early spring. and get it done so that when the spring push comes in, you're ready to go.
Right.
And trying to get people to believe that is, and get the dead trees away from your home. I want to tell you something that we ran into. This is going to shock you both, but Mary being in the home owner business with what she does, I ran into this spring several times, and it's still happening in Springfield. Because there's been so many tornadoes and so much ice damage down here in the last 4 or 5 years, the insurance companies are going to homes and doing audits before they renew.
Really?
I did not know that.
And if you have trees that are touching the roofs, twice I've been out on bids in Springfield, and they won't renew it until the homeowner gets the work done.
Really?
So don't think
Wow.
you're going to continue to get away with leaving that dead tree there saying, well, we can't afford it. We'll wait till it falls and hits the house. And I can't blame the insurance companies.
No.
You know, it's just gross negligence when you neglect to do something about it.
Well, that's just the responsibility of owning a home.
I agree.
You know, whenever you own a home, and we've talked about this a lot on the show, there's no such thing as no maintenance.
Right.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter whether it's your home, the trees outside your home, the power line, whatever it is, there is always something that you need to be taking care of or maintaining, either on your home or around your home.
Right.
And trees is a big one. You know, we had tons and tons of trees at our house in Nixa. Loved it. Our backyard was gorgeous. It would be, 15 degrees cooler in the backyard because of all the shade. But it was a lot of work. My husband was diligent on keeping everything trimmed, cleaned up, picked up. We did a lot of that in the fall, picked up all the leaves. He bought one of those cyclone yard rakes that worked great. And you have to take care of that stuff.
Oh,
you just have to
absolutely.
take care of it. The last thing I want in the winter when it's cold out is a tree falling through the roof of my house. I mean, what a nightmare.
Well, you know what? It just so happens through technology. I'm going to show you and Mark a picture here that I never thought about till you just said this. Last Thanksgiving Day, not even a year ago, we got this phone call. I happened to be down here. This will pucker you up here. No joke.
Oh.
This is Lake St. Louis. Look at the tree that hit that house.
Oh, my goodness.
Folks, this is
that
about
would mess up your Thanksgiving.
that's about a 42-inch diameter
That's huge.
sycamore tree
Oh,
That is
my.
huge.
that
Wow.
literally leveled a home.
Yeah, it did.
They tore that house completely down,
Wow.
and we had to go out with the crane and pull that tree out of the house on Thanksgiving Day in the St. Louis area last year.
Now, was that a dead tree? No. Okay.
See, people, it has no leaves on it, as you can see.
Right.
So there's no wind sail there. to
Right.
It would just, the root system was in rough shape. And, if people will look at that root flare, the bottom of the tree, where the dirt comes up to it, if you start seeing cracks in those roots separating, you got something going on there.
Yeah.
And
It's weakening the foundation of the tree.
You're losing stability of the root system.
Sure.
And like I said, when you see homeowners, this was terrible. Number one, the parents were out of town.
Oh, wow.
The daughter was at home, come home from college break, and didn't want to go to Minnesota. She's standing in the street when I got there, bawling her eyes out,
I'm sure.
talking to her dad on the phone, saying our home is destroyed, and it was. It's a sad situation.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
And it's not something that I want to pull up on every day, I assure you that.
Oh, I'm
And,
sure.
Well, that raises a question. Talking about the root system of the trees, what do you need to do if you'll see certain trees? You'll see the roots start to come up above the ground. They're not really covered in dirt or anything anymore. What do you need to do? Do you need to have someone come out and inspect the trees to make sure they're okay? Do you need to throw dirt around them? What do you do when that starts happening and the roots start surfacing?
When those roots start surfacing, it's telling you that the ground it's in is no good. It's
Okay.
too hard.
Okay.
They can't go down, so they're coming up to get moisture.
I see.
And you can't cover them. A lot of people will tell you, well, go out there with an axe. Let me tell you what, I honestly had this happen down here this year in April. An accountant that works in Springfield, I would not throw him under the bus, had a bunch of guys in the office, other accountants, tell him that you can cut those roots off of that willow tree. So he proceeded to go out down by us in Kimberlin City.
Okay.
Went out over the weekend and cut all those roots on the southwest side of the tree.
So then what was supporting the tree?
The house 2 days later. When the wind came through, it blew it over and hit his home. No joke.
Oh,
I can take you to it today. Oh, yeah. And this is the kind of crazy stuff we see and that we hear.
Oh,
you know?
my.
I mean, he literally went out and cut all the absorption, the stabilization of the tree.
Sure.
And as soon as the wind started blowing with all the leaves, it went right over on his house.
That'd be like if your house was on stilts, cutting half the stilts off.
Yeah, and expecting it to stand.
And expecting it to stand, yeah. Oh, my.
No joke.
Not a good plan. Don't do that, folks.
No, don't cut your roots.
Don't do that.
Don't shave them. Don't do anything. You know what? The best thing to do is to cup it and put mulch around it and just don't mow under it anymore. Spray the grass around it with Roundup and just put you a big mulch ring underneath it and set you some potted plants in it and be done with it.
Really?
Sure. Because you don't want to be running over it with the lawnmower.
Right.
You know, there's another good point. I made this point on a radio station down in Branson a couple weeks ago, and this little woman, older woman, called me immediately. And she said, Jeff, I never thought about what you just said. She called Vicki and said, but you absolutely told the truth. I said, you know what? You call me and you got a 15-inch stump in your yard. Roughly $100 to remove it. I said, how many lawnmower decks, lawnmower shafts are you going to fix before you have me come out? And she said, my husband, my kids, when they were here on the weekends, just come and get this thing out of here. You know, get rid of the stumps, folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a lady call me this morning on my way up here from my home in Kimberlin City. A neighbor 2 doors up said, Jeff, the pest control people were here. These homes are only 6 years old, and I had a tree removed when we moved in here, and it's full of termites. Get rid of the stumps. It's
Oh, yeah.
It's a food source.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
a
you
food
bet.
source.
Wow.
And we do have termite issues down by the lake.
Oh, absolutely.
We've had several neighbors that have had termite issues, and they're real good about paying attention and taking care of it right away.
Sure.
But, yeah, that's one thing about – and, you know, something else is if you're living down at the lake, you know, we have stuff that washes up, wood and all that. We don't leave all that stuff laying around.
No.
We don't leave that laying around down by – because that, like you said, that's just a food source, and you don't want all that stuff.
You know, it's just like when we build a new house. I don't know how many builders that in the past would leave debris underneath. Now, if you know, when you have your final inspection, they'll look under there and, you know, see if there's any debris or anything. You have to clean it out. But used to, it didn't matter.
Right.
And it's amazing, you know, the amount of wood and stuff left under a house, and it's a food source. And how much time does it take to clean that out, you know?
Not that long.
No, absolutely
Did you have
not.
a caller calling?
Yes, I have a caller that asked if we could go a little farther on the root situation. On more things you can do. Just a ring of mulch is really all you need, or the roots that spread on out from trees and things.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that caller called.
Yes.
Let me explain it to you like this. I'm not a cardiologist, but this is the easiest way to figure it out. The top 18 inches are where the feeder roots are at of the soil. Okay? And you ask most people, I'm going to put you 2 on the spot or you 3 on the spot. How far do those feeder roots go out from that tree?
I don't know. Does it depend on the kind of tree it is? No.
99% of the people will tell you to the drip line, the canopy of the tree.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Another lie. 3 times the width of the drip line.
Oh, really? They spread
Okay.
that far.
So let's do this. What happens to us human beings? Mary can speak from experience, and I'm not being disrespectful. You plug your heart up with 30%, what happens? It'll eventually get you. Okay?
Yeah.
So let me make my point.
Yeah.
You got 18 inches of soil. You put 4 inches of dirt on top of that, those feeder roots aren't coming back up, folks. So you just took 25% of the moisture that you just covered all the way around the bottom of that tree. You just took 25% of the moisture and nutrients away. So you can't cover them with dirt. So if you put mulch there, the mulch holds the moisture
Right.
and lets it permeate through it to the root system. And that's why, you know, people say, well, can you come out with a stump digger and just grind the root down? I can grind it down, but you're blocking the artery. You're cutting an artery again.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah, absolutely.
And see, that's what these guys that what we call two schmucks in a truck. Everybody that's laid off, that's got a chainsaw and a pickup, they're in the tree business.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to this than meets the eye.
So even if it's out 10 feet away from the base, you still want to just mulch it out that far?
Mulch it 10 feet out, absolutely. Okay. Because then the water's still getting to the root system.
To the roots.
But you're not running over it with the lawnmower. You're not tearing up your mower. You're not scarring that vein, that root system, that major artery of the tree.
That makes sense. Yeah. Interesting. There you go.
So,
yeah.
It, like I said, the mulch is, and then, like I said, if you want to go in there and you want to take a certain area and put 6 inches to put some flowers in certain areas and then mulch it in, that's fine. But don't go in there and cover that root system and expect that tree not to survive, because it's not going to do it. It may last a couple years, but when you start starving it and you get a drought like we had in 12, you're going to nuke that tree. Look at the trees that died in 12 already. I mean, I don't know what trees.
Yeah, there were a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
You call any of the good tree services in Springfield, Ryan's, All About Trees, Master Trimmers, the guys that are legitimate tree services, and if they're not a month or more behind right now, you better look out. Same way in St. Louis. I've got over 85 trucks and 100 pieces of equipment, and we're booked out till Christmas in St. Louis.
Wow.
With everything we own, because of all the trees that died from the drought.
Yeah.
And see, and that's why people don't realize that mulching is so important, because it retains, you protect the root system, it retains the moisture, and it just helps the trees grow. That's a great question.
That was a good question. Thank you for calling in, whoever that was.
Yeah,
Again,
I guess they didn't want to be seen on the radio, huh?
They didn't want to be. That's what they tell me all the time. Mary, I got a great face for radio.
That's what me and Mark say. That's why we're on radio,
that's
not
why
TV.
we're on radio. That's right. No doubt. So
No, I want to encourage you to call. Like I said, I don't know it all. I don't claim to know it all. But I'll tell you what I know, and we'll be back here in a little bit.
That's right. We'll answer some more of your tree questions, so stay tuned.
Now if you've got a problem and you don't know what to do, your siding's going bad and you're plagued with green mildew. Well, your faucets, they all drip and your sinks are all clogged up too. Well, there's no need to worry. I'll tell you what you can do. Just call Home Repairs and Solutions. Home Repairs and Solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. A suspect in the killing of a Missouri Southern football coach has pleaded not guilty. 39-year-old Jeffrey Bruner allegedly shot 37-year-old Derek Moore to death as Moore and Bruner's estranged wife were outside a Joplin movie theater a week ago. Funeral services for Moore will be held over the weekend in Iowa. Fire officials in Marshfield now say a fire that heavily damaged a recycling business and mechanics shop appears to be accidental. The blaze raged through Sun Enterprises on Commercial Drive. It was 75% involved when the first units arrived on the scene. Firefighters from Stratford assisted in putting out the fire. And Springfield police are looking for a suspect who shot into a van, grazing a man inside near Grant and Normal. Officers believe the victim and suspect knew each other. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers.
And join us for America's First News, Monday through Saturday at 6:05 a.m. on the Wall Street Journal This Morning on AM 560 KWTO.
Want more money in your pocket for Christmas shopping? Save money now from local businesses you know and trust. Pick up the Christmas edition of Money Saver Marketplace or use your smartphone or home computer to go online right now to moneysavermarketplace.com for coupons you can print out and use instantly. Don't ever pay full price again for pizza, automotive services, Chinese food, or lots more, because you could be saving big money with big discounts It's easy and fun with Money Saver Marketplace, in print and online at moneysavermarketplace.com.
Jay Farner here with Quicken Loans. Here are 2 simple words that should make you reconsider waiting to buy a home. Buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,350. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 4.25%, APR 4.5%, that payment could support a $275,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6%, that same $1,350 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $225,000 mortgage. That's $50,000 worth of home that you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. And for 3 years in a row now, J.D. Power & Associates has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Give Quicken Loans a call today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com and maximize your buying power.
For J.D. Power & Associates award information, visit jdpower.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Today will be mostly sunny and breezy with a high 62, then a clear night, low 41. Sunshine tomorrow, high 63 and a low 41. Then a mostly sunny day Sunday, high around 60. Veterans Day Monday will be partly sunny with a high 62. Then Tuesday, cloudy, breezy, and colder with a shower possible, high 43. I'm AccuWeather's Kevin Snyder.
It's 56 degrees at AM 560 KWTO.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And welcome back to Home Repairs and Solutions with hosts Mary Pearson and Mark Withers. If you have a comment or question for our hosts and guests, call 862-9977. That's 862-9977. Or out of the area, 800-375-0056. And we also have a way to text.
You can send us a text message at 417-838-3192, and we'll read it on there and get you an answer. So just simple as that.
That's right. Or you can do like the last caller did. You can call and talk to Gary, and he'll ask your question.
He'll ask your question.
So lots of ways to communicate with us here on the radio. We're talking about trees and what you need to be doing this time of year to for your trees and to make sure everything is healthy and in good condition. One of the things, though, that I think, and I kind of came across this because I was living in town for a little bit this year, and I thought, what do people do with all of their stuff? Like, when limbs fall out of the trees and you've got all these leaves and stuff, how in the world do you get rid of that stuff? If you're from the country like I am, you pile it up somewhere and burn it. But in the city, you don't have that choice, or you're not supposed to.
You can, but you'll probably get in trouble.
You might get the fire department out there, and then that would be ugly.
Yeah.
But something else that you guys are doing is you're doing a lot of recycling.
We are.
Of this kind of stuff. So how does the recycling side of this work?
Well, that brings up another great subject here. Organic matter. Lefty Evans. You know Lefty that owns Lefty's Well Drilling?
Lefty's Well Drilling, yeah. I do.
Lefty told me when I met him 9 years ago down here, they don't call this Stone County for no reason.
That's true.
Because it's solid rock.
That's true.
Yep. Well, this community garden thing that we're getting involved with next spring through Loaves and Fishes and Silver Dollar City and Gibson Tech and everything down there, if you can amend that clay soil down there with organic matter, it'll grow anything. And we've got pictures in our office of the soil that we've amended down there with compost from leaves and grass and horse manure from Dixie Stampede and Sight and Sound Theater and all this stuff that we use and drywall. And you amend that soil, we've grown 50-pound watermelons.
Wow.
And people say, well, in Stone County, well, you know what? I'm from Missouri. I'll show you. So I don't say I have all the answers, but, there's so many good things to do with these leaves and with the grasses and all this stuff that it's just, the city takes a lot of them over there at their compost facility, but I understand that they don't take any bags anymore.
Oh.
And people will come to us, and, we have a new facility at Evans Road in the Jernigan Quarry over there that we opened in March. And the city of Ozark, thanks to them, they send all their residents to us. And we sell mulch up there. We sell dirt up there. You can bring your rotten firewood. Yeah, there's a small tipping fee. Usually for a pickup truck, it's $5 to $15. And people say, well, I live in the city of Springfield. I can take it there for free. Well, if you want to believe that anything in this country is free, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
But let me show you on your trash hauling bill and your trash hauling landfill fees, they're charging taxes to pay for that compost facility for the city of Springfield.
Sure.
It is not free, folks.
No.
You're just not paying me, you're paying them. Well, the difference between the two is we make a product that you can come and get anytime. We make mulch. Our mulch is different. It's not hardwood bark mulch, which is not good for any plant, and you can look that up on the internet. Look up hardwood bark mulch from Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa State, and they'll tell you it's the carbon to nitrogen ratio is too high. It's got too much carbon in it. You put it around plants, it leaches the nitrogen from the ground and kills the plants. That's why when we grind up material, I had Springfield Gardens, Chris over at Springfield Gardens this week. I was talking with him, and he said, Jeff, I like your stuff, but why is it different? And I said, well, it's different because we grind the leaves with the wood. So we have the nitrogen in the grindings to break down the carbon. When you're debarking a log, all you got is 100% carbon. And so there's a big difference. But anyway, the recycling thing, Mary and Mark, it's just like shingles. How many years have we taken the roofing shingles off of houses and dumped them in the ditches behind our houses?
Yeah.
Taken them to the landfill, and now they're one of the most valuable assets for asphalt paving in the world.
Sure.
Today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Recycling may not always be cheaper when it starts, but it's always the smarter thing to do. And you have grandkids. I'm hoping to have some.
I got them.
What are we going to leave them, Mark?
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't start being good stewards of our valuable resources. I had lunch on Monday with a local boy here that owns a drilling company, and they're up in Pennsylvania drilling right now. And he said a good oil well will produce, what did he tell us? 500 or 5,000 barrels of oil a day.
Wow.
And he said these lines that they're on in Pennsylvania on propane are producing 14,000, the equivalent. You know, and that's natural resources that we have, and we're not dependent on foreign oil.
Right.
You know, and there's so many things that, to me, we've just been behind the eight ball on. Drywall. People come over to Brookline. You know, we work with Republic Services. Kurt Bodendorfer is the big boss here in Springfield, and they bring us all their pallets, all their wood stuff. Do I like pallets? No, because it doesn't have any green. But we mix the green to it. We take the grasses and put it with them, because pallet mulch is not good for your plants. I'm not bad-mouthing the competition. Look on the internet. Read before you put this stuff around your plants, and you'll see why people come and get our material.
Right.
And so anyway, the drywall, people were throwing drywall in landfills for years.
Right.
Where does drywall come from?
The
gypsum.
Yeah.
Comes out of the ground.
Comes out of the ground.
It does.
Gypsum mines in Iowa.
Yeah.
It's calcium sulfate.
Yeah.
What do plants love? Calcium. Sulfate. They love it. So we grind up the clean drywall. No, we can't take drywall that has lead paint on it.
Sure.
The construction drywall, the strips, the pieces, we grind that up and it makes a little powder, and we add that into our compost. So when you put that in there with the manures and the grasses and the nitrogen, all it does is amend the soil and enhance the soil to hold moisture, to drain, to work, to bring minerals and microbes back into the soil to make things grow.
Wow. I've learned
Maybe
something.
with the right stuff, I could grow something.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you, if you hear some of the stories, it's just like our dirt. You know, you can get all kinds of dirt around Springfield, but that's why we call our stuff super soil. We've got it under roof over there. We've got dry dirt almost every day. And people come over there and they'll buy our dirt and say, wow, you know, I called your office and they wanted, I don't even know what it is, $30 a yard, but such and such had it for 20. And we went and bought their stuff last year for 20. We put grass seed down, it won't grow nothing. Folks, you're better off. That's the penny wise, pound foolish theory. Okay? We test our stuff at Mizzou. If you called up to the Mizzou office at Mizzou, our soils, our mulches, our compost, we test them all the time. We know what we're selling people. I'm not going to sell people. What good would it do for me to sit here after winning the Better Business Bureau Torch Award, 7 years Angie's List Super Service Award winner, the first accredited tree care company in the state of Missouri, to start lying to people now, Mary?
Well, that wouldn't make any sense at all.
You wouldn't last long.
No, you certainly wouldn't.
You wouldn't last long. I don't care what kind of business you're in.
That's true.
Because word of mouth travels faster than anything.
Yes, it does.
And I can do all the advertising in the world, but you start lying to people and cheating people, you're done.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
well, I have a question on this recycling thing. Now, do people have to bring that to you, or do you have a service where, like, if they rake their leaves and bag them, will you pick them up? Or tell me how all this is working.
Kind of pickup, you know, that's the thing that we've done in St. Louis. You know, if you called over to Republic and talked to them, you know, there's a lot of homeowners there'll be a private little association. There'll be 10 houses on a street.
Right.
If you called over to Republic and they said, hey, we want $300 for a 30-yard container, that's $30 a household. They could let it sit there all weekend and everybody could clean their leaves up at the same time and load these boxes up.
I see.
You know, and it gives people an option instead of burning and polluting. As I told you, when I flew back in here last night, I drove back to St. Louis yesterday morning at 3 o'clock, and I flew back here yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock. When you see the pollution in Springfield, the three county, Stone, Christian, and Green, when you see the pollution and the haze hanging over this place from people burning, it's disgusting.
I don't know what it is, but when people burn leaves, I almost can't breathe. It makes my throat sore. It makes my eyes burn. I'm like, what in the world is in those things? It's like almost like acidy or something, and it just tears me up. I just hate to drive by somewhere where someone's burning leaves because it just kills me.
Sure.
So if there's somewhere that people can take these and get rid of them and have them put into a product that can be reused, then that makes a lot more sense to me than I don't know what you do with them if you don't burn them or haul them off. And bagging leaves, forget it. Bagging leaves is the pits. I hate to try and put leaves in a bag.
You're better off just to take a 10 by 10 tarp or an old blanket, rake them on the blanket, throw them in the bed of a pickup truck, put the blanket over the truck when you're done, take it down to Brookline. Our Brookline location is right at the end of West Sunshine and Highway 60, right behind DeVille Steel when you're headed down to Republic.
Okay.
We're just underneath the highway on the left-hand side. The Evans Road location is right in the Jernigan Quarry, which everybody knows, which is right on the side of the highway. Alan Jernigan was gracious enough to let us set up in there. He loves what we're doing. He is 100% behind the recycling. The Jernigan organization is 100%, the shingles, the whole 9 yards. And people say, well, Jeff, you get paid both ways. Well, let me tell you, folks, those $1 million grinders, they're not giving them away anymore.
No.
Okay? So that $5 to $10 that you pay us to tip doesn't even cost what it costs to run it through in the grinder.
Right.
But I guarantee you next spring when you come back and you say, wow, I just picked up, a yard of compost for $20 and my yield in my gardens, I could tell you some results around here. I have an older gentleman from Rogersville that drives all the way to Reed Springs every year to get 2 yards of our compost because he made me a bet. He said, well, we used to just go out to the barn and we'd get the hay and the horse manure and everything that was in the middle of the stalls. Nothing wrong with that idea.
A lot of farmers did that.
Yeah. But I said, I'll tell you what, you use my compost this year. And I said, you get 12 plants. You put 6 in your manure and put 6 in my compost, tilled into the soil. He got 200 tomatoes off of his horse manure, got 400 off of my compost. And he said, this guy's almost 90 years old. And he comes every spring.
Wow.
And he said, he heard me on the radio. And he said, hey, it works. And so it's just educating the community that there's something better to do than to burn it and go to the landfill with it that will last for thousands of years in that organic matter in God's creation, restoring it back into the ground. You would be better off, Mary, to take those leaves instead of burning them and just putting them out in the yard and till it back into the grass and then plant grass on top of it than to burn it.
Well, one of my questions that I was sitting here thinking about was, is it beneficial to mulch those leaves up and leave them on the grass?
Again, that is another argument that is still out there. I mean, leaves are acidic, so you got to ask yourself, is it going to mess with the soil pH for my grass? You know, I've read a lot of research both ways. Some will say it's okay, some will say not to do it. You know, and that's why when we bring it in, we mix it with the manures in the organic material so that you've got enough nitrogen in it that you keep it balanced, you keep the microbes working. You know, everybody says, well, what is a microbe? And I had a plant pathologist from the University of Iowa tell me it's just an army in the soil. And when you feed that army, they work. They let air get in, they let water get in. They're moving, they're aerating. But when you choke that army out, that soil goes dead. It's dormant. And then it'll grow nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
If someone, let's say we have someone that's listening out there saying, maybe I need to have my trees looked at. Maybe I need to see if my roots are okay. Let me, you know, are my trees going to fall over? What's going on? Do you guys come out and do like inspections for people, or how do they get information to find out if they need to have something done or not?
There's a difference between an estimate and a consultation.
Yes, correct.
If somebody says, hey, I know I want that tree out, and we go out there and we give you a bid on that tree, and you ask questions to one of our arborists while they're there, they're going to give you the information.
Sure.
If they're saying, well, hey, I need to get this done for a real estate appraisal or something, that's a consultation, and it usually costs $75 to $100.
Okay.
But if we do the work, then we waive it.
Sure. That makes sense. Yeah.
I'll give you a couple phone numbers real quick for people.
Absolutely.
It's 417-877-8733. 877-8733 is our phone number here in Springfield. And our website is Hansen's with an S, plural, HANSENSTREE.com. And like I said, if you want to talk to me, call the office. People say, well, you're too busy. How can you? You know what? I get back to people.
Sure.
I'm never too busy.
Yeah.
I'm not too good. I'm not too important. I'm just another man trying to make an honest, ethical living and do it better than the next guy. So, no, we're passionate about what we do. Like I said, we got 5 or 6 certified arborists on staff down here now. We're proud of that so that people can talk to people that are educated. You know, plant health care is another thing that we've gotten into down here this year, to inject fertilizers and things into the soil. Another great time to do that. Lawn care. I didn't want to get into it down here, Mary, but so many people calling us, wanting us to do lawn care, that we're doing fertilization and lawn care down here now too. So if you need that kind of service and you want to work with an honest, ethical company that'll do the right job, and if we don't do the right job, you know what, we're going to come back and we're going to make it right. And, you know, I had a situation in St. Louis a couple years ago, right in my own street. Our subdivision is only 6 years old. And we had some guys go in there and burn up a couple yards.
Oh, dear.
And I told the neighbors, I said, you know what, I can't fix it. I can't change it right now. But I said, your lawn care is going to be free for the next 2 years, and I'll get your lawn looking like a golf course again. And we did. And they're still our customers today.
Right.
You know, people make mistakes. There is such thing as human error.
Absolutely,
but it's how you remedy the mistake.
Sure.
That's how people are going to judge you.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely.
And you can't blame it on them, and you can't tell, well, it was the manufacturer's problem or it was this. It's how you fix the mistake. It's how people are going to judge you.
Yeah, we're all human. We all make mistakes.
Right.
And so, you know, I mean, we deal with a lot of different things too, running a business. And yeah, you know, we always give everyone the benefit of a doubt, you know, or, you know, we might have an employee that's having a bad day. You never know what happened. I mean, things happen in people's lives that causes things. And so you're exactly right. It's how you address it. One thing that I've learned this last year is that you can't control what happens, but you can control how you react to what happens.
No, and I got some stuff I want to send you. Have you ever heard of John Gordon?
John Gordon.
John Gordon is a very good guy that I need to. He's got a one day a week little devotional, inspirational, and I'm going to send it to you.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
He says, "Don't be a whiner, be a winner."
That's true. That's absolutely true. And
you've been through some hell in the last year in your life. And I admire you for getting up on your feet and going, girl. Because a lot of people would have laid down and said, I lost my husband, my house burnt down. We talked before the show, and like I said, God bless you, because I think you're doing a great job, you and Mark here. And like I said, it would have been easy for you to get bummed out and depressed and laid down, but you're looking great. You're doing a great job here. And like I said, it just, you need to keep fighting. And, I've never seen a saint without a past or a sinner without a future. So you just got to keep fighting.
Yep.
And ask the Lord to help you every day, because that's the only way any of us are going to make it. So
absolutely. I think real quick, that's one reason that me and Mary, number one, have such a great time on this show and have the gifts that we do, because we both have kind of the same ethics when it comes to wanting to be associated with good people and know that you're going out there, because people listen to us and they depend on what we say.
Sure.
We want to send somebody out there that's going to do the work. And we've had a couple that, we've had some issues with, but
we have.
But we try to keep that good work ethic going on this show, and we both like that.
We do, and that's why we're selective in who we put on the show and who we're going to promote, because that is a reflection back on Mark and I as well. And also it's a reflection back on Spring Mountain Air. And we do have listeners and clients who we've been on the show long enough, and that we do get quality people on here that they trust us. And I do have people call and say, hey, who was that tree guy? What was his number?
Sure.
We're happy to give that information out after the show or anytime during the year when we get those calls. So we do appreciate people like you that take time out to come on and be part of the show.
It's a privilege for us.
And
thank you.
We really want to help our listeners and help our community. We really want them to be able to spend their dollars wisely and have great people come and help them out. So
absolutely.
Yep.
Gardens. Think about those gardens for next spring now. Start
Absolutely.
growing your own vegetables.
Absolutely.
That's true. Well, I hope to see everybody at our big jam tonight out River Bluff Fellowship. It's
Starts at 7?
Starts about 7 o'clock. Going to have a great time out there, so come out and see us. And what do you got going?
Well, tonight, I'm just going to go home, but this weekend we're going to do Silver Dollar City, and I'm going to try and get my boat winterized tomorrow.
Oh,
That's
boy.
the last thing I have to do.
There you go. So, sounds fun. Jeff, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Well, this is Home Repairs and Solutions. We're heard every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO.